Hello, fellow fumblers, and welcome to the Fumblers Show, the podcast where a few friends fumble through your favorite films. Today, we are reviewing American Psycho, a movie released in 2000 and directed by Mary Herron. So without further ado, my name is Adrian.
My name is Taryn.
What's up? It's James, and we have a special guest today, all the way from North Carolina, James Allen, the quiz master, Geeks Who Drink. Welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Thanks, folks. Good to be here.
Yeah, welcome. Your pick, by the way.
Yeah. Your
Thank
pick. And not to forget about our man, Jay. You guys all know him.
Producing
He's doing
today.
the producer stuff tonight. Frank's here in the background, our live audience.
Yeah.
And of course,
having a good
you
time.
guys here on twitch.tv/filmfumblers.
And yeah, if you're watching us live, we forgot to mention, stay tuned after the show. We're doing a little horror movie game show.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
If you're watching
Had a
this on
lot of
YouTube, I'll put it up
Or
on
if you're
YouTube.
if you're listening to the
Oh,
podcast, I mean, go to our YouTube channel, Film Fumblers. We'll have the whole episode.
It'll be a
up there.
separate
Yeah,
thing.
this is our Halloween extravaganza.
Yeah.
Bit of an event here. So let's jump into these shots.
Oh.
What is this?
Cheers.
It smells so bad. What
Red
is it?
Label.
Johnny
Not
Walker
something
Red
worth
Label. It was delicious
cheers, guys.
last weekend. Cheers, my friends. Cheers over there.
Cheers.
All right, let's do
And
everybody.
cheers to
Halloween.
you guys watching at home.
Halloween.
Let's hope
Cheers,
my bunny ears don't
chat.
fall off.
Oh, wow. It does.
Here we go.
Adrian, are you supposed to be Bugs or Lola?
Are you Bugs or Lola?
That depends. No, I'm Bugs Bunny.
That was nasty.
Damn.
My girlfriend is Lola, living out a childhood fantasy of mine.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to our Space Jam episode, check
gets
that
into
out.
it.
He gets
I
into
get
it.
into it. Yeah, I learned a lot about myself. All right, so American Psycho. This is my first time watching this.
Me too.
Me too.
Okay. So how many times have you seen this?
So
James?
I own this on Blu-ray and have watched it several times.
Several
Lots,
Okay.
like at least like a couple times a year. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Jay, I know you like this too, right?
I do like this movie. It's my second time. I'll say that I had a lot of questions the first time, and the second time I still have a lot of questions. But it's a great movie.
Yeah, I messaged everybody after I watched it. I was like, American Psycho. What the fuck? LMAO. I was just like, what? I was like, what was I watching? But like,
I felt that.
as you watch it, it just gets better for me. I don't know. And I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry, Taryn.
What?
I keep seeing your fucking reviews on Letterboxd. And I need to stop doing that because
What did I give it? I don't remember.
You gave it a 3.5 stars.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's something.
So sorry, spoiler alert.
All right.
But now I
That
feel like
stars and numbers is very different.
stars and numbers are different.
And here's the
But-
thing for our special guest. So a lot of my rating is like how engaged were we in the conversation and like how because a lot of times I go into a movie I'm just like it's like a 5 and then we have like this crazy
Yeah.
conversation. I learn new things about the film and I'm like this is actually a lot better than I thought.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see where this
Yeah.
goes. But
I'm
yeah.
excited to hear what the seasoned veterans have to say about
Yeah.
it.
Me
so,
too, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I want to call out the standout scenes that I think, and anyone that's watching or you guys know, like to me the top scenes of this that make this movie are obviously like the intros of Patrick Bateman as he's like in his apartment getting ready
Yeah.
and like his inner monologue is just
Yeah.
shows you what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And then obviously the business card scene
Oh,
where he's
Oh,
like
yeah.
freaking the hell out
That's my favorite.
with the
fucking
business
scene.
cards.
I
That
was
is classic.
fucking cackling, dude. I could not stop laughing. I was like, what the fuck? Like, the movie is so weird. And once it got to that point, like, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was so
I feel
good.
like that scene set this movie up for something that I wanted, and it didn't become that movie that I wanted. Does that make any sense? It was very fucking weird and like surreal, like humor,
Yeah.
and it kind of never really got back to that. Except when he's, I don't know. There's some
I
scenes
don't
where
know
it gets
that it
close.
does.
I think
though.
it does.
I think it does.
I think
You're
it's
alone on that.
I think
That's
yeah,
fine.
I think it rounds out. I think it's like the more I kept thinking about it, the more that I was just at work and I was just like, fuck, this fucking movie's just
It stays with you, right?
it's like just it's just a crazy ass commentary just about like toxic masculinity, fucking capitalism. Like it was like insane. Like there's so many layers in the movie that I was just like, holy shit, I could see why this would go over people's heads and like why like his like acting would like turn people off. but for me, it just worked.
His
It just
voice
worked.
is so good.
Yeah.
I love
the
it.
way he delivers every single monologue is flawless. Like
Yeah.
it's so good. And so the movie based off of the novel, I read that it's almost word for word from the novel. Like a large majority of the movie is.
Have
word
you
for
read
word
the
from
novel,
book.
James?
I have not, but I want to.
No.
Yeah.
So.
No, I've heard like
neither.
that it's really stays true to that. I mean, the author of the novel was like there during the whole production of everything. So there was a couple scenes I think that the author didn't love. I think it one of them was the moonwalk before the murder and like the little dance. I think those are, but those were improvised.
So fucking
Those were
good.
improvised, but like it's just those little bits I think just makes the movie. Like it's so perfect, and I think that it has that perfect balance between this is a comedy, but it's also a horror. It dances between that line.
I feel like
perfectly.
that stuff sells his like psychopathy or however you say that word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, like, so totally standout scene was him dancing to the Huey Lewis in the News when he's got his, Paul Allen over at his apartment, right? And then he brings his secretary over, and he has that moment with the nail gun behind
Yeah.
him, but he
Yeah.
doesn't pull the trigger. Like those moments, man, are just like really set this movie.
Yeah.
apart.
And I love that like his character is he's having these conversations with people and he's speaking his truth, but it's in this weird way where they can misinterpret it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, for example, when the secretary is there, she's just like, oh, like, I don't know, should I stay or should I go? And he's like, well, I think you might be hurt if you stay, you might get hurt.
Yeah,
And like she's thinking
yeah.
emotionally, but he's like, I'm going to kill you.
I love that, dude. Yeah.
And it's like, it's great writing.
I love
It's
it.
just works.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite lines where he was like, "Yeah, what does he say?"
Yeah, he's like, oh, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm mostly into execution and murders. Or what does he say? Yeah, executions and murders.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, acquisitions and mergers.
Yeah, that
He
stuff
does that
is
at
like
nightclub.
fucking
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
But like, okay, and then like, I guess jumping kind of ahead is
No, let's
like,
jump around, yeah.
it's like, did he actually? Was that something that he said inside of his head, or was that something that was misheard? Right?
Was it
because
real?
And that's
because
the
you
theme throughout
can't
the
really
movie.
tell what is real and what's
Yeah.
not.
And that's a theme throughout the movie, even from the beginning, where he's like, so he's at the bar, he's like to the bartender, he's like, I want to like,
Oh yeah.
can you cut your throat? Or whatever.
Yeah, he's
And
like, you're
then to
fucking
the-
ugly. I'm gonna
Right.
cut your throat.
And then like to
yeah.
the sheets lady, he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like I got these sheets in Santa Fe. Like he says shit throughout the movie, and it's like, did he really say that? Or
Yeah.
did he imagine it? And that the movie, I feel like, purposely leaves that obscure. Like,
Yeah.
did he
Yeah.
imagine all the bad shit he did?
Damn, I
We
didn't
don't
think
know.
about those.
They
parts
they
that way.
play with that line a lot. So
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's character, they shot the scenes that Willem Dafoe was in 3 times. Each scene they shot 3 times. One of them, Willem Dafoe knew that he killed the guy.
Paul
the other
Allen,
one, Paul Allen. He knew that he killed him. The other scene was he wasn't sure, maybe, and then the final take was he didn't think that he did. So they kind of spliced all of those together to kind of leave the audience like,
Does he
in
know?
this
Does he
weird
know?
abstract
Yeah.
kind of place, and it
Yeah.
worked.
Damn.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I feel like that's hard to pull off acting wise.
Oh God, Willem Dafoe is a master.
Yeah.
Like, he's
No doubt.
brilliant.
He's
and
good.
Christian Bale. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this
both
is
of them.
like Christian Bale's like first big like leading role, right? Or
Yeah, no, I think really it was.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people were kind of saying to Christian Bale, like, don't take on this role. Like, it's just,
It'll
it's
be
gonna,
career
it's
suicide.
career suicide. And he wanted to do it so bad. I read that 9 months of like other opportunities, like he was just like, nope, I'm doing American Psycho. He was so dead set on it, and it launched his career. Really, I mean, he was fucking Batman. You know,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was like a fan of the book or why he was so adamant about it.
He really loved the script. So I think he wasn't even the first pick for Patrick Bateman, but everybody that came to audition for the part, they were kind of like, well, the script's kind of weird. And he came in and he was like, that script was fucking hilarious. Let's do this. And everyone was like, yes, this is exactly what we need. Like someone who gets it.
Yeah,
like he
nice.
got it.
Yes,
And that's what it
absolutely.
was.
That's cool.
Is like, yeah.
And you
he got
see
it.
that in his acting, where he he lays it all out. Like there's no holding back. He's in it. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't have worked. I think I saw like Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to play
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
and I just don't know that they would be able to deliver that the way that Christian Bale did. He went for it, and like it just he nailed it.
So staying on this same train of thought, the thing that I noticed second watch during the monologue that you talked about in the beginning, where he does the whole routine, skincare routine and shit.
Yeah.
As he's delivering this monologue, right, it kind of ends where he literally peels a opaque
a
mask
layer,
off his
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And it's like he's kind of hiding in plain sight. He's kind of always, somewhat real with everybody, but he's still hiding behind this thin layer of something.
Yeah, dude.
And that was cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
there is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, but he simply is not there. Right?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. That's the still book for the DVD is that.
Oh, him peeling?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's fucking nice, dude. The
Nice.
4K version, it's fucking cool. Yeah, and like it's all that kind of stuff. It's just like, who do we think that people are? Like what is all these like behind veils, smoke and mirror kind of shit?
Right.
And that's like that's what I was thinking. Like just more and more like comes up from this movie. Just kind of, just like I don't know, who do you believe around you, and like who's really like cutthroat? Because like at the end, really nobody even really gives a shit that guy's gone. Because it's a cutthroat fucking world.
I think the movie does a
And,
good.
like it's weird.
It
It's
makes
so
like a
weird.
good statement about like just people and how we're so wrapped up into our own worlds that we don't know that our best friend is a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like it does that so well. Like all of his best buddies, they don't give a fuck about any of each other.
Yeah, that's the
know?
thing is like they're not even really friends. Like they
it's just
commonly
for status. And,
Yeah.
So I got my best credit card. We're gonna play credit card roulette for dinner. We're gonna see who's got the best business card.
Yeah.
And it's, going back to your earlier point, James, is like some people argue that this is a commentary on just like normal American corporate culture. Is you can just do whatever the fuck you want and like not ever like be held accountable for your actions.
Yeah.
Pay for the
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Something that's recently, like, coming into the news again is, like, Nike and the whole slave labor kind of thing. It's like nobody gives a shit. LeBron James doesn't give a shit about it. But it's kind of just like, who are you willing to kill to make an extra buck? Like, that's what's kind of crazy about it. It's like, it's fucking real. But this guy's an actual killer.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
besides,
more
like,
literal than real life.
more literal than, like, Nike, like, is a killer, like, probably not.
And I would
hands-on
say, like,
kind of thing.
this came out in 2000. Like, that's
Yeah.
back then, and especially, like, the 80s.
It's based in
kind
the
of,
80s, though, right?
Yeah, the
87.
80s, like, rise of corporate, we just exited this era of hippies, and now we're, like, 180ing into this corporate, world. And not only, like, are all those things what was going on, but you were also, in some ways, like looked up to or praised, right? If you were, like, working on Wall Street and, quote unquote successful when it was all aesthetic, and it still
yeah,
is.
Patrick Bateman kind of says that. He's like, "Oh, I work for what is it, Pearson Pierce or what's that?
Ever
It's like
heard of it?
Ever heard of it? I work in the stock market."
But like
You know,
the thing was
very
is that
grand,
like
yeah.
it was his daddy's thing. Like he didn't even like really
Yeah.
work.
Which is
He didn't
usually
like
the
work
case.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you guys notice that when they pulled out all their business cards, all of them were vice president?
yeah,
Not
oh my
Great
God.
eye. Yeah.
They all were basically the same thing. Like, and that's what was crazy is that it's like there's this whole like sea of these monsters kind of out there.
Same
just-
thing, and you never saw them do any work, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's in
Yeah,
his
he's all
office
kicking
watching
back,
TV,
like-
doing
he's like,
whatever.
I'm not
Tell
here.
him I'm not here.
Yeah, tell them out to lunch, right?
It's just like drinking, cocaine, women. Like that's like what it was.
Yeah,
That's the life,
prostitutes.
dude.
Yeah, it's
I will say, as much as I am a lush of this film, and I will forever love it, I will say that the third act does lose steam compared to the first two acts, right?
Yeah.
Like where he goes on that rampage of like, like shoving the cat in the ATM, like going on a shooting rampage with the police.
Yeah.
And he's like calling his people. Like, I get that this movie had to go on a crazy like left turn,
Right.
but I feel like tonally that does not vibe with the first.
But
two
I,
acts, right?
but I feel like I almost felt like it was perfect because it was like you're watching this slow train that was gonna kill a child that was like stuck on the train tracks, right? And you're just like waiting for it to crash, and you're just like, because like he's so erratic and he's like so weird.
Yeah.
Like I felt like once it got to that third act, like, and when it went full balls to the walls, like I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then when they were just like, maybe it's not real, I was like, whoa. I was kind of like, I was like, okay, so this all makes sense. It's like this like manic it's like this manic bipolar psychotic guy is just kind of like it made sense. I felt like it flowed for me.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
also because he kept saying shit like, I don't know if I can hold it in anymore. Like,
Yeah.
he just kept
Yeah.
talking like
Yeah.
that, and then like
Yeah.
eventually it's gonna happen. It's
Like you saw him breaking, which was
Yeah.
which was interesting because I don't know, like a lot of times you see serial killer stuff, like they play it cool and this stuff, and this guy was like just so lustful after it, like
But like he also wants all of that pain, and like he wants to get caught.
he wanted to be
He
caught,
wanted to
which
be
was like
caught.
the big like sad reveal at the end.
Yeah.
He was just like, what, I don't
He
know,
called and it's like admitted himself and he's like, okay, what
Yeah.
a jokester, right?
funny joke.
And like that's such a
dude.
So there's a lot of, I guess, I don't know, theories or just like the way people see this movie at the end. They're just like, did he kill all these people? Did he not? And I feel like he definitely killed people, but I
Yeah.
think it was kind of a mixture of he embellished it, because I think we're viewing the world through Patrick Bateman's eyes, and he killed people, but a lot of it was just over the top and overblown, and just the way he talks to people too. Like you see that in the scene where he shoots the cop cars and they blow up. And he looks at the gun and he's like, "What the hell?" Like,
Yeah, no, he's like, I feel
because
the
we're
power,
living in
dude.
this kind of fugue fantasy world.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is there's reality in it, but a lot of it is overplayed by a psychopath. You know, I don't know.
That's a good theory because I'm still mixed on what was real in that movie and what was not.
I
because it's so
I
obscure.
feel like up to the point of like the cop stuff.
Yeah.
I think
But a lot
It
of
was
crazy
real.
fucking shit happened before that. The chainsaw dropping from.
I feel like that
Oh,
probably wasn't real.
But then remember the crazy thing that stands out is, and he's tripping balls, is he goes back to the apartment and there's those cleaners there.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, did he hire the cleaners? Did his company hire the cleaners to clean it after him? Like what the
Or,
hell?
So-
or was it just capitalism? Or just like, we can't let anyone know what happened
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Let's
So
clean
that
this
was
shit up and
that
sell
was
this
the
apartment.
theory that I saw.
Yeah.
That's
That-
how the lawyer felt to me. He was like, okay, you did this, but like I don't want to deal with it.
What
Stop
murder
fucking
were
saying
you-
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's
But
like,
then-
I had lunch
but then,
with
like,
him. I'm your
okay.
alibi.
So there's like a whole theory behind that where Patrick Bateman was he was mistaken for Paul Allen in the beginning, right? So the lawyer doesn't even know who Paul Allen is because he's easily mistakable, and so is Patrick Bateman.
They have the
Yeah.
same
So the
job
lawyer-
title.
yeah.
I mean,
Different name too, besides those two too. at the
Yeah,
end.
and so like he forgot about them, so like everybody just blends in together. But the thing with the lady who was selling the house was just that was the theory that she's just a fucking cold-hearted bitch too, and she's just down to she's like, fuck
Let's
it,
just
get
turn
rid of
and
these
burn
bodies.
houses.
We
Let's
can't
go.
we can't
It's a
like
good deal.
have any. We need to sell this place, like
Yeah.
no matter what happens,
I
let's
think
fucking do it.
For me, that the other part of that is that it kind of runs counter to the rest of the stuff we were talking about, because like there is like when you're looked at as successful or whatever, there is that thing where like if somebody who you deem successful came up to you and was like, I just killed 40 people, you'd be
Yeah.
like, good joke, right? Like it's
Right.
not real, even if it is. And you know, it also kind of highlights like that he never really had real personal relationships with people, like friends, like true friends that you could go to be like, I just killed somebody
Yeah.
and we have to
In
deal
And
with
his
it.
earnest.
like wife or whatever. They
Yeah.
made, I don't remember, but
It was
Reese
all
Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. His
completely
fiancé.
like artificial.
yeah.
Crazy.
Oh God, yeah, it's so good, and I think that all takes it back to just the point that the social commentary that everyone is so consumed in their own personal life, and it's almost like you just can't be bothered. You know, you can't care about like what everything else is going on with the landlord who's just trying to sell this fucking house after all this atrocious shit that's happened to it. Like the best friends that are just like, he says some weird shit sometimes. You know, we're just gonna play it off. Like you know, everyone's so involved in their own status, and so is Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting that he talks about like not really being human, but like there's no other characters in the film that, besides maybe the secretary, that you can balance out of like, oh, these are real people that we can relate to, because none of the characters you can really like.
Yeah.
Except maybe the
The
secretary.
secretary was the one that I was like wincing. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
please
it was
don't
like
die.
Willem Dafoe maybe, but he's just, I mean, if we were going to dive into his story, it would probably be like he doesn't love his wife. He's too consumed in his work. There's just all of these layers there. And I think, the secretary is probably the only anchor that you have to reality.
Do you guys recognize her?
What is she from?
She
I've
looks
seen her
familiar.
a lot.
No.
She's from Kids.
No
Oh
way!
my
Which
God.
one?
Yeah.
The
Is
main
she
girl?
the one that
She's
gets
the main girl. Don't spoil the movie for those who've never
Listen
seen
to our
Kids.
episode on kids. We did
Yeah.
that one. I hated it. But
Yeah. Have you seen Kids?
I have not.
No, yeah.
Maybe
and
don't.
90s,
you don't have
90s
to.
film,
Yeah. You
skateboards,
skip that one.
AIDS
Okay.
epidemic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, she definitely does seem familiar.
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I don't know. This movie had like way more social commentary than I thought. You know?
Yeah.
I kind of thought like going into it, I was just like, I've seen all of the GIFs. You know, I've seen
Yeah.
everything.
All the memes.
It's
Watching them
definitely a
play
meme
out,
movie.
dude.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's so
the
mean, but
fucking-
like
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
nodding.
that's nice.
So
like
fucking
it's
good.
just
that is the
Dude,
first thing
the-
I knew.
the way-
his handshake
the
is
way-
insane.
The way it bounces, he's like, and it's like it's so it's so rigid. Yeah. It's so rigid.
That, when I saw that like on the film, like I was like, how?
Yeah.
How did he do that? How does?
and so like
It's
I
so
don't-
simple, but it's just how.
and I kind of get why like okay, so like this shit like popped off on 4chan because like I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
Because
Yeah.
it's like incel shit, kind of, which was kind of weird because there's that whole part where you almost think that Bateman's like woke, where he's like, we need housing for the homeless,
Yeah.
we need this and that, like women need to get better pay, and then he goes around and fucking kills women and kills the homeless,
Yeah.
which is like It's another like commentary on how like the rich say all these
They're
things,
talking
the
out of both
liberals.
sides of their mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. They say all these things, but they don't give a fuck if somebody else is fucking dying to make them $1. You know,
Exactly.
it's interesting to see. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this was 2000.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the fact that this was in like 21 years ago and the social commentary is fucking spot on for today is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was a bit shocking for people. Like,
Yeah.
Probably, a lot of people probably didn't jive with this.
Like, I don't
when
want
it
to think
came
about
out.
that. Oh God.
Yeah, it
was
kind of
probably
feels
low-key
like
shocking.
after the curtain has been pulled back. I feel like the past year or so, the curtain's definitely been pulled back on a lot of things in society, and this feels like kind of ahead of its time. Where it
In
was
that way,
like,
yeah.
this is kind of what's going on. Maybe not the psychopathic killers necessarily, but like this is how these like big brokers that we look up to as like, wow, these successful
Just
businessmen,
run around unchecked, right?
they're just terrible. They're just terrible people, like.
Yeah.
And now I think if you tell like the average Joe like, oh, what do you think about like, Wall Street investors, would be like, fuck them, But like back then, 20 years ago, they're like, oh yeah, they're they're successful.
They're
all
great.
This.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is interesting. It is interesting.
I will say just one more thought for me is great soundtrack, great 80s
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
Lots of great tunes.
That's
Who was
the
in the
gift right
news?
there,
I mean,
Yum.
and like what was the other song?
Studio.
Phil Collins.
Studio
Studio.
was fucking
Studio.
great placement of the song.
I loved that a song would just be blaring on the next scene, and then it would always fade into his headphones. I was like, oh, I love that kind
Yeah.
of shit. dude.
Oh, yeah.
It had Baby Driver vibes where he
Yeah.
would like
Oh,
have
sure.
one ear on the headphone and then you would be
Yeah.
able to hear some of the music and then he'd take it off completely and it would cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Well, Baby
Yeah.
Driver was obviously a lot later than that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, that was really good. I think the majority or the single most expensive thing for this movie was getting the rights to all of the music.
Oh, I bet.
can see
Yeah.
that.
Because
Yeah, because like it's funny to hear Bateman talk about like, because like he's like trying to pretend to be somebody who's relatable,
Yeah.
but like when he talks about music and stuff like that, it's almost like he like read it.
It's like a living Wikipedia page.
Yeah, he's like
Right,
he like
yes.
read it like on like Billboard magazine like fucking covers like. He's like Huey Lewis in the
Yeah.
news, like
you
this
really
and
came
that,
into
like,
form as a solo artist.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, and he's just like trying to be normal, which is what he
Right.
says, right? He's like, I just want to be liked. Is that what he says?
So, yeah, he's just trying to like blend in.
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to blend in. Yeah.
It's funny because that feels like the most genuine that character ever is. Like it feels like he's actually into that kind of like the details of the music and stuff.
But I think it's hollow. I think it's hollow in a sense
Really?
that
I don't know. I get that he actually is into it.
Yeah.
I don't
It's so
know.
detailed.
I think it's so detailed because I think the only thing that he wants to do is kill, and he will try to distract and overbear you with like this and that and this and
Knowledge.
that. His looks, his money. He's gonna try to overload you with everything that he has, just so you can be distracted, so he can kill you. I feel like that's how I see it.
Wow.
I feel like it's almost a thing. It's kind of like the monologue he had about like women need equal rights and like we need to solve homelessness. He almost has this thing where he's just so self-obsessed, and he's just like, I know so much more about this topic than you ever could, and let me tell you how much more I know about it.
But
like, I
also
don't
to
know
like,
that
but also to get on
necessarily-
your good side, to like,
Yeah, it's
he's so
manipulative.
sweet.
Yeah.
But really, he's just like, I'm just trying to like appeal to
Yeah.
the everyday man.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's
he's trying to get into
Yeah.
your comfort zone.
like that. The music stuff is like the only thing he knows that he can like latch onto people with, like the common
Right.
shit.
Everyone likes music.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
so that's why he does that. I
Because
don't
he's
know.
talking about Phil Collins and Huey Lewis, like they're like underground artists,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they're like huge.
Yeah.
He was on Genesis and like their third album was good. Blah 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 blah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a mix. I could see that, but there's also the argument where he's in the car alone with his headphones on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he gets
That's
interrupted
true.
by his
Yeah,
reason.
he's
like what? He's like
Oh,
getting
that's
interrupted.
true.
Always
Okay,
checking out
I
the
forgot
new
about
whatever
that.
album.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then maybe music was his only
It was like his-
It's like his
escape.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why he just did that little, that
But,
little
but
jig, dude.
it's his thing, but also he knows more about it than you do, and like he's gonna tell you, and like
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because he's a
And
psychopath.
music was prevalent in a lot of his journey. Like
Yeah.
he's always had the headphones on. He had the music on when he kills. He had the music on when he's like sexing, right? Like the studio scene. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Music was his like his thing.
Don't just look at
Look
it.
in the mirror.
Points
right?
points at himself.
That was, okay, so
So many memes, dude. It's,
I don't know,
It's funnier
like,
than fuck. It's
Another
so funny.
scene that is that fucked up and funny at the same time.
that
It's
is
disturbing.
American Psycho.
It's
That
disturbing.
is the movie. It's equally fucked up and hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
But-
writing
yeah.
is just brilliant. So
I
I
think
want
it's
to read
good.
a quote. This is my favorite quote in the movie. When I get to Paul Allen's place, I use the keys I took from his pocket. There was a moment of sheer panic when I realized that Paul's apartment overlooks the park and is obviously more expensive than mine. I calm myself and move into the bedroom where I find his suitcase and start to pack. That's such
It's-
good writing because you're just like,
it's
oh wow, he's actually thinking about
sheer
this. He's
panic.
calculating.
Yeah.
His apartment is more expensive, and
That's the
what's
thing he's
concerned.
panicking about.
brilliant.
Yeah,
It's
it
so-
is.
When it comes back
Perfect.
later and the girls, he's like, "Do you like this apartment?" She's like, "Yeah, it's nice."
It's really nice.
That's
It's
that
not
pure
that
like
bad.
corporate narcissism that
Yeah.
is very
Yeah.
prevalent.
It's like
funny.
that. It's perfect. That comedy is fucking. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's just
I
brilliant.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
and
that's what I-
allegedly, again, I need to read the book. Allegedly, the book is actually way darker than this movie was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
the movie originally had an NC-17 rating,
Oh,
but
shit.
they kind of had to move a few things around. One of the more disturbing things, children, plug your ears. The hanger, the
Oh yeah,
when
he pulls
the
it out.
hanger. So in the book, apparently he like inserts the hanger inside of her, and she has to get it surgically removed, and that's why she's like
Wow.
so
Oh.
much more reluctant. But they allude to that.
That
They
she had to
do.
go to the doctor and stuff.
they allude to
yeah.
it, but they don't explicitly say it. And like, there's the torture scenes, and that was the
Yikes.
like reluctance for so many companies to get behind this film, until like they had a big problem with a lot of the brands that they use, like Louis Vuitton, and a lot of them were just like, you can't use our products. This movie is disgusting. Like, or the book is disgusting because they describe the torture and the murder so much. But yeah, so they had some trouble there. But
I don't know, because like in the movie, he's like, "I'm not done with you guys yet," and then it cuts to them leaving, and they're all fucking bruised and shit.
Right.
I'm like,
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
you imagine might be just worse than what the details are.
I don't know, a hanger, like
yeah, I was,
Yeah, I
I
guess
was
like-
thinking of hangers.
I thought he was gonna beat her with it. I don't know. After
Like-
I read that, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
My mind was just like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And I just felt so disgusted. Like
yeah,
maybe more if I saw it. I don't know. That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, and like that's the other thing too, is like the first murder that we witness in the film is the homeless man.
That's the most like visceral one, dude.
And
It's
it
so
was
fucked
like
up.
so
He stomped out a dog, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
dude,
dog
okay,
dies.
can we just say, James, James Allen, you don't know the amount of movies that we have done that a dog dies.
That a dog died.
It's an
Yeah.
alarming
I have
amount.
not
Yeah.
seen a movie where a dog dies that we haven't reviewed.
My bad.
We've
My
reviewed
bad.
Every single one where a dog is killed.
There's a lot of dead dogs.
But yeah, no, that one is, and like it's just so hard to watch almost because he's just like, you're so kind, thank you, mister, you're so
Yeah.
kind, because
yeah,
he fucking straight kills him.
yeah.
And the
chilling.
cat in the ATM. I look back at
Cat in the
Zoe,
ATM
I
was rough.
And again, those are the things. Just like, did that happen for real, or was that in his mind? Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't
how
know.
could that happen, right? Cat in ATM. What the fuck?
I don't know, there's stray cats all over.
Well, because the
New York.
ATM's not going to
into
display
the
that
ATM.
message to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Shove the cat in, right?
Oh,
where
right,
it's
yeah,
at.
that's
Well,
like.
yeah,
his
I'm just
psychotic.
saying, like,
Yeah.
the
feed,
cat-
feed
That's
me
why
the
I feel
stray
like
cat,
from
yeah.
from the
couldn't physically
dropping of the
go in and see it.
chainsaw. That's probably the last thing that might have been real.
I don't know.
Why
I
didn't
disagree.
she just
I
stay by
think-
the wall? I was
You
so
can't do a
upset.
chainsaw like that. It has safety mechanics.
You're right,
But
you're right.
whatever. I mean, whatever.
It's
We're
two,
gonna
it's
nitpick about it.
1987. The safeties for chainsaws may have been different.
OSHA wasn't.
I
I don't know if
founded yet.
OSHA was around.
I mean, go ahead.
But what I'm saying to James's point is like, this movie does not have a like, okay, after this point, nothing else is real, because it gets at the beginning you're like, okay, I think everything is real, and then it starts getting to this weird place where you're like, maybe some of this is embellished or in his mind, and then it like tops off and it climaxes near the whole shootout at the end.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about this movie is that the theories and the uncertainty of it is that there's a theory that none of the murders are real, that all the murders were completely fabricated in his head, and he just journaled it, which is what she found at the end, right?
Oh,
That's
right,
like
yeah.
that's like what I love about this is like this movie could also pass for he never killed anyone, and it just was all in his head.
It's so
which is cool.
open.
Yeah,
That's
it's so good.
Ah.
And I think what I love about that
like
is
that.
like the director and the authors are just like, that's kind of I did see something that they kind of didn't want it to be as ambiguous as like, oh, he didn't actually kill Paul Allen. But I don't know. I love that if it was a mistake, it was a perfect mistake, because that blurred line makes the film. At the end of the movie, me and my girlfriend were watching. I was just like, she's like, did he kill everyone? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what movie's missing all of this?
What movie?
Joker.
Oh man, okay. We're
Like,
not talking about Joker.
Let's show you, because you're a stupid ass audience. Look, this didn't happen. This
Yeah.
is like
Stop
stupid
spoiling
as
it for
fuck.
people who haven't seen it.
I didn't say details. I'm
Wait,
just
this
saying,
is
like
Joaquin
this
Joker?
movie. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Joaquin
yeah.
Phoenix.
This movie
Hey.
leaves it open for you to think about, and the Joker
Yes,
one's like,
you're
"No, you're
right,
too
you're
dumb.
right,
Let's
you're
show
right.
you what happened."
You're right. 2000 versus 2019, I think. Is
I don't know. Did
early.
did he kill the neighbor next door? I don't know. That was
No, but I'm
ambiguous.
saying older
No.
movies.
No.
Older movies, like, we're just built different, you know? Like
Hashtag built different.
Hashtag
And
built
it's
different.
easier when it's just a nobody.
know, I
You know? It's a
know.
Patrick
Yeah.
Bateman, not
Just-
a
I just-
Batman.
I have a chance to give him shit for liking that movie. I just have to take it.
Of course. Of course.
That's fine.
fair.
That's fine.
I just have to take it.
Joaquin Phoenix is brilliant. That's all I'll say.
I'm going to
Not
agree with that.
disagree with that.
So,
Anyway,
all right. Anyway, do we have rounding thoughts? Are we?
Wait, are we
Where are we
rating
at
this
here?
puppy?
So
trying to think.
if there's any big scenes that we want to talk about, I think one that I kind of want to mention is the confession monologue. So
that was weird to me.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was. I was watching that and like,
At the end?
yeah, I'm not gonna be so pompous as to say like, as somebody who has done acting, as somebody who has like tried,
As an
somebody-
actor.
As somebody who's tried to act
somebody
once.
who has tried to memorize monologues, somebody who's tried to like memorize monologues and like deliver them, I'm just like watching that. I'm like that. I was just so good. It was so fucking good.
Yeah.
So they did 14 takes of that, and the director kept wanting more because every time Christian Bale delivered it better, and like
Wow.
For me,
Brilliant.
Could have
for
been better
me,
for Infinity. That's crazy.
for me, it was kind of okay. So there was like that line between like, does he have remorse or does he not have remorse? And when he was starting to tear up during the confession monologue, I was like, well, is that out of character for him?
I
Right?
feel
Because
like-
or is he like what?
I feel like it's
Or
a
is it just
struggle that he's
or is it just like
finally-
an innate like
Is that-
emotional like it's like
I
you're
kind of
gonna
feel like
you're feeling all these emotions because it's like such a high climax.
Right.
He does so many things consecutively. Like it's just like the adrenaline's coming to him. He's starting to cry because of the adrenaline. Because I was wondering, I was like, well, why is he starting to cry? Right?
I
if
think
he's
the thing with-
like this cold-blooded like
The-
psychopath,
The
right?
thing with Patrick Bateman is like he is not afraid to feel pain, and he almost craves it and he wants it, and like he's caused all of this chaos.
It's because
and
he's
this
never
is-
felt pain.
This is the culmination
Or
of
he's
like
never
everything
felt
that he's done, and like him finally confessing this is like this catharsis that he's kind of experiencing, and there's this overwhelming feeling of emotion that he's going through. Is just like, whew, I'm confessing to it. I did all of this, and like he's going through a lot of emotions, not necessarily in remorse, but just the emotion of like.
Yeah, I would argue that would be, he was coming from a place of joy. He's like, yes, look who I am. Look what I did.
Yeah.
This is what I did. Like,
So tears of joy.
yeah, potentially. potentially.
Interesting.
Like, he's like,
I
yeah.
think it's just an emotional overload because, I mean, he says himself he doesn't have human emotions except for greed and lust and a couple other
Hate,
things. I think.
anger.
Yeah, and hate. You know, those are the emotions he has, and like, this is like just this heroin kick. for
Didn't he like
him.
admit to cooking people in that monologue?
Eating their
God.
brains.
Eating brains.
Yeah,
Eating
their
brains.
Tried it.
Yeah.
He's like, I even cooked him. I was like, oh.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
when he's going down on that chick, he like fucking bites
Yeah.
her hoo ha.
Yeah.
I would say that the confession is most interesting because of the last line, which I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like this confession was all for nothing, something to that effect.
Yes.
Right, and it's because maybe it is tears of joy. I really like that take, but like maybe he's pouring what he thinks are his emotions into this thing, and nobody fucking cares, right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Which goes back to everyone just so wrapped up in their own world that they couldn't give a fuck.
It's kind of. Is it weird that it makes you almost feel bad for him that nobody
That's-
cares? At the end of the movie, you're just like,
doing it for
damn, nobody fucking
No
cares.
one cares. This guy's a serial.
It's like-
murderer.
care that he
fuck,
killed
dude,
everyone?
come on,
Yeah.
care, dude.
Nobody cares. And
Yeah,
all
that's
he's
nice.
ever wanted, I think, is for someone to care.
Aw,
And
Oh.
it's
so sad.
but it's
and
like,
his daddy's
issues.
probably American Psycho too, right? Like
but
he's-
it's for all the wrong reasons, right? Like, I want you to care that I have this nice apartment. I want you to care that I have all this shit, that I have this prestigious title.
I think to be noticed.
Yeah, maybe to be noticed. But
Yeah.
the one thing that he really tries for which is killing people, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. And nobody cares about the other shit either. Like, it's just he's left alone.
Yeah, there's
by
that
himself.
other line he says, I think to his fiance, is like, I want to fit in. Like, that is his mission.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
He wants to just be a person with everyone else.
it's kind of sad. Damn, pour one out.
Patrick
I
Bateman
can
did
fix
nothing
it.
Pour one
wrong.
out to Patrick Bateman. It's just
Did
like,
nothing wrong.
I can fix him.
I can
Oh,
fix it.
God.
Girls would be like, I can
Oh,
fix it.
God, man.
I could take a nail gun to the back of the head.
Dudes will do 1,000 crunches but won't go to fucking therapy.
There's the intro.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, look at his routine. Like,
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
I know that Frank really likes this movie, so I want to give him some
Yeah,
space
take the floor.
to
Take
Yeah,
the
go
floor.
for it.
Yeah,
all
sure.
your thoughts.
No, I mean, I think you guys covered it all really, really well. And keeping in mind that the setting that it is, late 80s, right in the middle of American, like, pro-consumerism, rat race kind of deal.
Yeah.
But the ambiguity, I'm glad everybody can, even on first viewing, that you can pick up on all that, because
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It's
Yeah.
supposed to make you kind of look inward and think of how you interact with people around you, and like, you don't know who the fuck this person is, what's going on with them or anything like that. I don't know. It's like you said, James, the fact that it's still relevant today is kind of insane.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, this is kind of like off the rails, but I think about it pretty often, how when you look back at our, modern history, like every decade is like a different epoch of society. But once you get to a certain point where information is more available to everybody to kind of think, or, for people who can't think and make good conclusions, they come up with bad ones, and that's kind of slowed down that whole process, which is why it's crazy that it's still relevant. But
Yeah, that's
No, I mean, I'm really surprised because everything that I was thinking as I've seen the movie, I'm like, man, you guys fucking hit all of it. That's really good.
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, rate us on Apple Podcast, all right?
Wait, very nice, very nice.
Frankie, if you had to give it a number, let me know. What is it?
Out of 10.
Out of 10,
Yeah. You can. It's 100-point scale. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I feel like a 9 wouldn't be overstretching
Oh yeah.
because it is still a thinker's movie, which is something you can't really find a whole lot of today. Like you're saying with Joker, it's almost the same kind of genre where we need to tell this important story and monologue, but in order for people to watch it, you got to put some entertaining skin on it, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think it does that much better than maybe any other movie I've seen. So that's why I would rate it highly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. 9 out of Frank. Jay, do you want to jump right into yours?
Go right
Yes.
into it. Let's do it.
go
Let's
this
get them
way.
all. Let's
Yeah,
get
let's
everybody in here.
Full screen your face real quick.
Full screen.
Full
No, I'm just
Screen
kidding.
Too much work. Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm in the same realm. I think like when I think about what I personally want from a movie, it's something like this.
Yeah.
Something that's so crazy and insane, but like plausible, but maybe didn't happen. All of those things are great. And all of the things that people can pull out of movies like that are incredible. Like all of the fan theories and all that shit, it's awesome. It kind of like creates a, secondary market for ideas and, what ifs and stuff. And it doesn't just die at the credits. And I think that
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
The point of art is engagement, and
Right.
this
And it
movie
does
makes
that.
you engage with it
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
just, okay, I saw the credits,
Yeah, I
like I'm
saw
never
it.
going to think about this shit
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Totally. The soundtrack's great. The acting is incredible. The fact that they pulled this off at all is like awesome. And this was a Sundance movie. It was like that's
yeah.
really?
Originally
me,
released, premiered
that's
at
crazy.
Sundance.
Does anyone know the director's history? Is this like early for her?
I have no clue.
It's a
Honestly,
female director.
She,
yeah.
yeah, she.
Mary
I read that
something.
she was like extremely interested because it was controversial. Like she was into that.
Mary Herron.
Keep talking, Jay. I'll look.
Dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it pulled up right here.
Okay.
This was number 2. Number
Nice.
2
Yeah, she's done
of
a couple
hers.
others after as well. I think.
Very impressive.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
6,
Yeah.
6 or so. Yeah, no, I mean that's amazing. Yeah, I think I'm right there. I think I'm in the 9.2 range.
9.2.
9.2.
Yeah.
All right. 9.2 out of Jay. James, James Rodriguez. Let's just go in order.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. This is gonna be like a weirdly skewed score. Not skewed, but there's just a lot of us here. I honestly was really blown away by this movie. Like I was like, holy fuck. Once I got into it, once I felt like I was like, oh shit, this is what's happening. Once
Yeah.
I figured out the tone, like it was so fucking funny to me. And I was like, it is actually scary to me too, which was like the good balance of it because like how like bonkers he was acting through the entire thing and the way he was just like killing people. I was like, this is actually scary. And like I don't know, like I think about I think about how you were like Scream was funny and scary, but for me Scream was sort of funny and not scary at all. This was both for me. Like it was both. Like just the crazy ass fucking shit that was going on in his mind and how you were able to live inside of his mind was insane.
Yeah.
And like it was almost driving you crazy hearing like the meandering like words that he was saying, kind of like how I am right now. But I've had a few drinks. Like you're like almost about to pull your hair out just like listening to him like just talk about things. And like he's a disgusting person and he's so good to hate. But like there's just so many layers to this movie. Like there's so many layers just between like misogynistic like males,
Yeah.
corporate fucking lifestyles, just throwing anybody under the bus just to make a quick buck. Like it's crazy. I did not expect that from this. Plus a movie that like actually kills people, like or not. I don't know. That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
8.8 for me. I think
Okay.
it's good.
8.8 coming out of James Rodriguez. Taryn, you want to take it over?
Yep. I don't know, man. I feel like I've seen the things you guys like about this movie done so many times, or maybe better. I'm not totally sure. I haven't thought that hard about it. That it was just fine to me, this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't hate watching it. It's not a bad movie by any fucking means. Like, it's really good, but it was just like, you know, just like, okay, like, sure, this and that. I really wanted it to be even more crazy.
Really?
Because the business card
like,
scene was fucking insane, dude.
Oh,
I was
so
like,
good.
why is this even happening right now? Because, like, the tone of that, I feel like is so
That
much
made
more.
him kill Paul, dude.
Yeah.
That, like straight
That
up.
and the reservation.
That and the
that,
reservation was just like, I'm fucking done,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then, like, the whole, like, ending with the monologue, I felt that was just cheesy. Like, that is just a noir trope, like, to the fucking T. Like, they're in an
okay.
office building,
Yeah.
the fucking blinds on them. They're on the phone, confessing to their lawyer, whoever the fuck. And I don't know. I didn't feel in that
All
moment,
right.
I guess. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
on the...
that's fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
Fair enough.
But it was a well fucking made movie, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, the music was so good. Like, the acting, Christian Bale is a fucking
Genius.
beast for taking
Yeah.
this job and wanting it so bad. Everyone
Beast.
that jumped on this movie, thank you. That was cool of you to do that. I'm gonna give it like an 8. I think you guys really brought my score up. Once it ended, I really did stop thinking about it. I didn't think
Okay.
about it once. I was like, I don't know if I was just busy. I got Dune on the mind. I can't stop thinking about
I
that
got
movie.
Dune on the mind.
I don't know what it was, but like I just didn't think about this movie after that, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't know what to say." That's why I was like, "Jay, be on it," because I know you have things to say. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So an 8 coming out of Taryn. I'll go ahead and take it over next.
Do you want to make James go last? I
Is
feel
that
like
okay?
I feel
Oh, yeah,
like our
totally.
okay. You
I'm
good?
I'm happy to go last. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm dressed up as Patrick Bateman. I can
Okay,
go
all
last.
right. I was like, I feel bad
Yeah.
making the
Make his
guest go last.
confession.
But
Audio
okay.
listeners, check out
The
the video.
best.
He has a really good costume.
Yeah, it's great.
The best for last.
All right, yeah. So I want to touch on a point that James Rodriguez mentioned, where, like, as you're watching it, you're like, yes, it's kind of a comedy and it's kind of a horror. And I think for me, like, while I was watching it, the horror wasn't just like, oh my god, this is a scary movie. Like, this has the horror tropes, because it doesn't necessarily. I think the one scene in like that big apartment complex with the chainsaw, that's the closest it gets to an actual horror. But the true terrifying thing about this movie is the social commentary on how everyone is so self-absorbed and like nobody can see a monster right in front of their face.
Yeah.
And like that is the thing that
It's
after
creepy.
after the
Yeah, it
movie's
is.
over and you start thinking about that, you're like, holy shit, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But also while you're watching, you're like, this is hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
just the writing in it is brilliant. I mean, the
a
acting
blast.
is perfect. Like Christian Bale, we've talked about like characters being born into the role, and I don't think that anyone but Christian Bale could have delivered it the way that he did. I mean, I think like also just the weird ways that this movie has survived through memes and gifs and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that I haven't seen this movie.
I would have never
before.
guessed most of them were from like this horror movie.
Yeah, like you look up Christian Bale gifs and it's like it's American Psycho.
How did he?
I don't
make
know.
it
He
balance?
defies. He has an
like-
agreement with gravity. Yeah.
Dude, he is a psycho, dude.
This movie is brilliant. I really love the fact that they had the author on set and production, and they followed true to most of the things that they could, while keeping it rated R and not NC-17.
Yeah.
This movie is brilliant. It's so good. I honestly don't have much bad to say about it. It's a 9.3 out of 10 for me.
Woo.
That's where I'm at.
Very nice.
So we're saving the best for last. James Allen, special guest, take it over.
Yeah, so as a guy who dresses up as Patrick Bateman for Halloween, and I love this movie. I quote this movie. I listen to the soundtrack. Easily 9 out of 10 for me. Again, for me, it does lose a little steam in the third act, but just because it's tonally, it veers off. But totally get your argument, James. It goes batshit crazy, which is like
Sure,
this movie
yeah.
was building up to. But yeah, to me, it's this movie, the reason why it's an easy 9 out of 10 is the movie challenges me emotionally whenever I watch it, and intellectually is like, what's going on, what's real, what's not, and it stays with you after you watch it. And that's why every viewing, it continues to question like what's real, what's not, and to me that stays with me. So,
Yeah, and I feel like that's what's fun about it is like you can watch it multiple times, and then I feel like you can like change your opinion. You be like, actually, maybe it is this way, maybe it's not this way.
Yeah, dude.
And that's what's fun about it. That's what's fun about it.
That's why I said earlier, like I watched it for the second time and I still have questions.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
questions are different, you know, and it's just it works.
Yeah.
All right. We're having some technical difficulties with math.
I
So
I have the score if we're including
Do you
all
ha-
people in the room.
Yes.
we're including all
What
6
is it?
people.
The score is an 8.8.
Are you kidding me?
An 8.
Not a
eight.
wow. I'm
I
disappointed.
would say sorry, but Old Boy deserves my
Um,
sorry. more.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't say sorry because an 8.8 is what I gave it, and that's what it is.
so James,
Let's go.
to James
So-
Allen, who's new here. So any movie that makes it above a collective 9 makes it into the Fumbler Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
it's forever regarded as one of the best movies.
As one
we've
of the
ever
best.
reviewed.
Yeah, and this is gonna be one of the ones that got away. I
don't know,
think.
man.
Wow!
This
I
movie
give it
is
an
so
8.8.
much.
I mean,
Maybe
I could give this
fucked
movie
that
a
up.
9.5.
Oh no.
Hey,
think
if you want
it's-
to start
I,
talking
I, I think once you say the number, it's set in stone. I
Set
feel
in
like
stone.
revisionist history is not allowed here.
All right. So we
Wow.
rated this movie an 8.8 out of 10.
Wow.
We
Wow.
would
I thought it
love-
was gonna be Hall of Fame easily.
I was expecting.
Yeah,
Hall
I
of
was
Fame.
like, oh yeah, for sure.
Just shy of Hall of Fame. Not our closest to Hall of Fame, I think.
Oh, we
Old
had
Boy
it like an
was-
Old Boy was like
8.95.
9.9.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was Old
Yeah.
Boy. and I
Yeah.
felt horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
such
boy.
a tragedy. So is this one. But we would love to know what you guys think about this movie. Hit us up on any of our socials. Find all of those at filmfumblers.com. Make sure you are following our Instagram. We are posting constant updates, behind the scenes stuff of some other like movie production stuff we're doing.
Yes.
We actually just released our new episode of Fumbled Not Stirred.
The
You can-
Space Jam.
Yeah, the Space Jam cocktail. You can watch that on our YouTube channel. Yeah, if you are watching live, be sure to tune in to the after show where we're going to be doing a spooky trivia. And if you're watching this or if you're listening to this on a podcast, tune into our YouTube. We'll have the whole video there. So yeah, that about does it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Cheers.
We'll see you next time. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.